Hello, I'm Eddie Farah, and welcome to The Legal View. With me here today is Mr. Larry Huttman, who works on medical malpractice cases in our office. And Larry, one of the questions I'm always asked is that what kind of damages or what kind of recoveries can you make in a typical medical malpractice case?
Sure. And one thing I can tell you, Eddie, is there is no typical medical malpractice case. Unfortunately, every case stands on its own merit. There are elements of damages, just like in any case. In medical malpractice, you obviously have an element of damages for the past and the future medical expenses, which oftentimes future medical expenses can be very, very significant if somebody has been a victim of medical malpractice. The other element of damages is of course, emotional distress and pain and suffering in the past and in the future. And then, of course, any lost wages associated with the medical malpractice. If, God forbid, there were a death or a catastrophic injury, there are limits, for instance, on the non-economic or the pain and suffering type damages here in the state of Florida. And those limits apply either per the provider or per the entity, the person the provider works for. And there are caps that can affect that because people who have ongoing pain and suffering, have that for the rest of their lives. But typically in medical malpractice, if you cover all those elements of damages, the verdicts in those cases, if they're supportable in court, are significant verdicts.
Do the spouses or the children have any claims for damages in medical malpractice cases?
Sure. In a medical malpractice case, depending on if there has been a catastrophic injury or a death, certainly spouses and children do have a right to recovery. In a catastrophic case where there's been an injury to a spouse, the other spouse has what's called a claim for loss of consortium for the services that were rendered around the house by their spouse, for the loss of their love and affection. Their children likewise, if the father was providing for his minor children and can no longer provide, those minor children will have a right to a claim. In a wrongful death case, if God forbid somebody dies at the hands of the medical provider, then the surviving minor children and the surviving spouse likewise would have those types of claims, some of those claims being economic type damages, and then of course if it's a loss of a surviving spouse, the surviving spouse would have a claim for the emotional loss of their spouse.
Well, thank you for answering those questions, and thank you for watching The Legal View.